Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear investors. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Valdo Kalm. I'm the CEO of Port of Tallinn, and Andrus Ait is our CFO. As usually, we will start with main events from last quarter, and I would like to start with continuous growth and let's say rapid recovery of passenger business. I will come back to the numbers later, but Q3 was quite successful, and also 9-month recovery is better than we prognosed. Then we closed operations finally in Paljassaare harbour. Before we sold out our keys, after that the infrastructure, and now in Q3 we also stopped the administration of the port. Therefore, Paljassaare is totally closed. Just for information, to remind you that it wasn't possible to do business there as cargo. Therefore, I guess it was very reasonable to sell the assets and close the cost. Also important for us, for the port, is that the competition authority terminated supervision proceeding regarding the penalties of worldwide cargo establishment. And before that, we had the court case also for us. That was the successful for us, and after the court case, also competition authority made the reaction and terminated the supervision. Very important for our group is that the state will not exercise the option to purchase the ferries. In our agreement, that was the option, and the government decided not to use that. I guess that sets quite a good platform for the next tender, what will be in force next year. Therefore, we'll be preparing for that. Also, we got renewed supervisory board, but in Q3 there was some changes in audit committee and remuneration committee. The head of audit committee is Marek Helm, and the head of remuneration committee is Veiko Sepp. Both gentlemen are very experienced in business, and therefore already both committees started in action. Then some changes in supervisory boards in our daughter companies. That means our commercial officer, member of management board, Margus Vihman, came the supervisory board member in TS Laevad and Green Marine, and Ahti Kuningas left as he got the new position. Also, we had quite interesting investor day. It's already such a tradition, but this time we really talk about the future and about the growth possibilities for the group. And important is that there are projects on pipeline and possibilities for growth. Trends in our business segments. As I already mentioned, in passengers business, we see the continuing strong growth in passenger numbers and also in revenue. Also, we increased or we got the growth in rental fees because of cruise terminal, because it works also for the events. That's such an additional revenue. Then parking house, what wasn't last year, yet in our budget. And then last year we decreased some rental fees for our operators. Therefore, nice growth in rental fees also. On cargo side, we see a continuous decline in volumes. I will come to the numbers, but it comes mainly from the fertilizers and liquid bulk due to the war. And what is positive that in Q3 also have seen continuous growth of raw and containers. That's very important because we consider the raw and containers as our growth potential for the coming years. We're working on that quite heavily, and we're further developing south-north corridor and how better serve the Finland and Swedish import-export. About the sanctions, I will have a separate slide. Our ferry business shows also quite strong growth, and it comes from additional trips ordered by the state plus indexation. Under the other segment, Botnica did also nice summer job in Canada. Plus, we also by the contract have the indexation included. Therefore, good growth from Botnica side also. Here are the volumes, as we said, numbers on absolute terms are also quite high. Biggest growth coming definitely from Helsinki, more than the million new visitors, also from cruise, Stockholm, all together then, some 87%. On the left side of the slide, you see that we are recovering from the COVID. In 2019, we had record year, and now with this 9 months, we showed a quite good growth from last periods. I mean, from the COVID period. And important is also that we have quite stable ship visits in passenger business, and same is valid for this year. On cargo side, the liquid bulk made the biggest drop, and dry bulk shows also due to the fertilizers. As you remember, our one terminal is closed from Q2 already. Therefore, these are the numbers. As I already mentioned, good news is that raw and containers showing also in Q3 the growth in 9 months also. And here from the other part of the slide, I would like to again show that the ships visit show stable numbers, and that's very important for the board because the more than 50% from our revenues and profits coming from the port dues. Therefore, the visits are extremely important, and that shows quite a stable trend. And hopefully we will have the stable numbers for the last quarter and then cumulatively also. Our shipping business volumes, the local operations from ferries recovered quite quickly also from pandemic, and in 9 months we have a record number again from passenger side, and hopefully by the end of the year we will have a bigger number than last year. On Botnica we count the charter days, and hopefully there will be also quite a stable and flat result by the end of the year. About the future. We believe that passenger business recovery continues. There are many elements showing that if there will be no new wave of pandemic, then we're preparing quite heavily. Our operators preparing for that for the last quarter, for the Christmas campaigns, but also for next year. We made investments. We have cruise terminal for cruisers. We just recently opened the terminal plots or area. That means that we really have a good cooperation with our operators to prepare the recovery and growth. Impact on sanctions to Russia. We now know the final sanctions, and we can calculate quite precisely what is that. In the beginning of the year, immediately after the war, we announced that the estimated impact is around 6 million for us yearly basis. Now it shows smaller numbers, it's 5 million, and for this year, the negative impact is 2.5. Of course, we see rising input of the cost. It's energy, labor, and the services. We're working quite heavily on efficiency plans. This year, we established such a process management in our group. That means we renewed our processes, and we not follow only the functional cost, but we have quite a good view to our main process, and via that we definitely see still possibilities for cost savings. That means that we have to react with costs also. And about the future development, I would just for the next year point out that we're working heavily for a new business area, that's offshore wind farms, and we are going to build next year base harbor in Paldiski. The international tender for construction will open in this coming weeks, and we have to start, and we believe that this business is a good growth possibility for us as a group. And then, of course, we're preparing for new contracts in shipping and a new tender in our ferry business. And as I already mentioned, we are quite well prepared. We have new ships. We have possibilities and knowledge how to rebuild it to electrical or hybrid. Therefore, we're preparing for the tender also. Yes, that's it. And then Andrus will continue.
Yeah, thank you, Valdo. And I will proceed with financial results. These are the results for third quarter and 9-month period. It's visible here that the growth we see in almost all main figures. The revenue growth for the third quarter was more than 12%, and it was mainly supported by the passenger harbor segment. We had 87% more passengers than last year at the same period, and also the cruise sector has also supported the revenue growth in passenger harbor segment. We had 110 cruise ship calls compared to the 39 last year in the third quarter. But also we had good results in the ferry segment and in the segment other. However, the cargo segment is showing a downtrend because of the lower cargo volumes. But still, the positive effect from other sectors was higher than the negative impact from cargo harbor segment, and therefore we see the growth in revenue in the third quarter. Adjusted EBITDA also grew by 5.4%, almost more than 900,000 euros. Adjusted EBITDA margin lowered a bit from 53% to 49.6%, and it's mainly due to the higher costs, especially electricity costs. Part of them we can intermediate or put in our service prices, but part of them we bear ourselves. Operating profit grew by 11%, and also profit for the period was 1.2 million higher than in the third quarter last year. We didn't pay any income tax in the third quarter, and investments we invested almost 3.5 million euros, which is more than 50% higher than last year. The main project was made in Old City Harbour, where we renovated or reconstructed the surrounding area of T-terminal, and the project is completed for now, and the area is open, and we hope that the port area is more attractive for citizens and for travelers, and it's a good foundation for the continuous growth in passenger harbour segment. We also improved the ro-ro capacity in Muuga Harbour, where we are building the new two-story ramp for ro-ro ships to serve them better and to support higher cargo volumes in ro-ro. And also we made some maintenance investments. For example, in Old City Harbour, we reconstructed the shoreline reinforcement. On 9-month period, the pattern is quite similar as in third quarter, but the growth rates are a bit higher. And to explain that, I can bring out mainly two reasons. Firstly, the third quarter in passenger harbour segment last year, we saw already the growth, and therefore the first half of the year, the growth rate in passenger numbers was higher, and therefore also the financial numbers or the growth of financial numbers in passenger harbour segment. And secondly, the sanctions which the EU and the governments has imposed after the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, the governments has imposed them progressively during the year, and therefore the impact from there has been lower in the first half of the year than in the third quarter, and therefore we see a bit higher numbers on 9-month period. The revenue grew by 15%. Adjusted EBITDA margin remained at the same level as in 2021, but operating profit and profit for the period has increased more than 20%. The profit for the period, even the growth was 25%, and was almost 5 million euros. And investments investment projects were basically the same, and we invested 21% more than last year. Income tax, we paid dividends in the second quarter, and the dividend payment was 5 million euros higher than last year, and therefore we see growth also in income tax on 9-month period. When we look at the revenue and profitability over the years since 2017, we see that the adjusted EBITDA margin has been quite stable despite of the crisis, corona crisis, starting from 2020. We have managed to keep the level quite stable, and this trend has continued also this year. And adjusted EBITDA in this year, we see already the number of 47 million euros, which is almost the level which is last year for the whole year. So the growth in adjusted EBITDA has been quite significant this year. Here are the results by segment-wise. Like already mentioned, this year has been very successful for the passenger harbour segment. It's a decent recovery there. In the third quarter, there was more cruise ships calls than last year, and the passenger harbour supported therefore most our results. But we see growth also in segment ferry and in the other segment. In the ferry segment, we have made more trips this year due to the higher demand. And last year, on 9-month period, we had also more repairment costs, some dock works for the ferries, and therefore the EBITDA and EBIT margin in this segment has also increased. And also the segment other has supported the growth. The revenue for Botnica has been indexed, and also we had a good result from our joint venture company Green Marine, where the results have also improved compared to the last year. Cargo harbour segment, we have seen a downturn in volumes and also in revenue, and this is also the segment what is mostly or the most impacted by higher energy prices, but the decrease has been lower in financial numbers than in volumes because of the growth in Ro-Ro and container cargo, and these are the cargo types where the cargo charges are higher. Cash flow and financial position. On cash flow statement, we see that cash from operating activities has improved, has increased by more than almost 4 million euros. Due to the higher revenue, and the revenue growth has exceeded the growth in costs. Cash used in investing activities is a bit lower, despite the fact that we invested more than last year on 9-month period. On the second quarter, we received a grant payment from EU from Finport 2 project, and therefore the cash used in investing activities has decreased compared to last year. Free cash flow has improved and amounted to 35 million euros, and cash used in financing activities has increased by almost 5 million euros. And to explain that, we paid out more dividends this year, 25 million euros. Last year it was a bit more than 20 million euros, and this reflects in these numbers. Net cash flow as a result of previous rows has increased by 2.5 million euros. Net debt has decreased by almost 19 million euros due to the loan repayments. And on financial position, we don't see any strong change here. Cash on accounts has a bit increased due to the better cash flow, and debts are a bit lower due to the loan repayments, and non-current asset have decreased due to the depreciation. But with that, I will conclude the presentation. We have some extra slides about revenue generation and EBITDA generation for information if somebody has more interest, we upload the presentation and you can browse it later. But with that, we will make a short break and we will back in 5 minutes and are ready to answer your questions. Thank you. Good. So we are back and we have, thank you for the questions. We have here more than 5 questions and try to answer them. The first question, how do raising interest rates impact your cash flow in the next 3 years? Definitely there will be impact, negative impact on our cash flow, but in our investment project, we haven't taken into account such a low interest rate as it has been in previous years. So therefore, we can manage the increasing costs there, and there is an impact, but it's let's say we have in our business plans we have take it into account in advance, and this is not a problem in the future for us.
Next question. Under your opinion, is it realistic that 2019 passenger numbers could be reached in 2023 or 2024? It looks that, and we hope that the recovery, 100% recovery and passenger number, what we had before, reaching probably 2024. And next question, At what stage now is real estate development project? Yeah, we have had again good developments, and I don't want to comment or promise nothing just now. Maybe we will have in Q4 good news. If you remember, then we worked with detailed planning design, and hopefully there will be some important decision and event by the end of this year. It's better than comment on a next press conference.
Russian sanctions impact minus 5 million euros. Is it the revenue or profit? Already in the second quarter said that the impact of sanctions is almost the same for revenue and EBITDA. Maybe it's a bit lower on EBITDA level, but yeah, it's we have, let's say, mostly the fixed costs, and therefore it impacts both the revenue and EBITDA in the same amount. EBITDA margin decreased below 50% in third quarter, and what is your long-term target? Actually, we haven't set such a long-term target, but we definitely try to keep this level, and the historical data supported that in even tough times the company has managed to keep the level, and we take some steps and put our effort there that the margin level will be in the future also around 50%.
May I add that we consider 50% is very high because we try to benchmark it with other listed ports. There are very few ports, unfortunately, in Europe, but there are some airports. Then with this 50% margin, we are in a very top, honestly, and we really try to keep that magic number. Next question. Do you expect PAX growth or passenger growth next year will mainly come from Estfin or other countries? Yes, the main source is Finland. We have seen a positive trend, and there are new segments, youth, families, that means younger segments coming to Estonia. That's very positive. Secondly, we believe that there are some growth possibilities in Sweden also, because just now Tallinn operates with only one vessel. Let's see, we're planning some marketing activities together. That means that there are some potential in Sweden also, and then the cruise. Just recently, for example, today, there is a important event in Tallinn, Cruise Europe conference. That means all the main players, ship owners, also cruising companies are there. And it seems that Tallinn is very attractive. That means we were working, of course, to market better our Tallinn and medieval city and our port. Therefore, all these three segments are promising. Yeah. Is the drop in Ro-Ro cargo volumes related to the seasonality matters, or are you seeing less activity in this cargo group due to the macro environment, or some other factors impacting Q3? That's true. In Q2 we had stronger growth, although on Q3 we had 6.4% growth. There are many factors. It's not so easy to say, but definitely, there are some macro impact. That means export, import decrease, and therefore maybe that's the biggest. Otherwise, we supporting as a board. It's very strong stevedore company in Muuga, HHLA. In Paldiski we have STV. That means the conditions are very good to support the growth. But yeah, I guess macro plays the most important role.
Will a Russian embargo be fully implemented in the beginning of next year? If yes, what is the estimated impact in euros? Actually, the impact which we said, minus 5 million euros, is the total impact when we compare to the full year before sanctions and the full year after the sanctions, which will be the 2023. And the drop has already, let's say, here we don't see any significant drop, additional drop in the future. It's according to our terminal operators, and as we mentioned, they are looking for a new cargo, and therefore there won't be any additional drop in the future, or there is, but this is due to the fact that this year the sanctions were imposed during the year progressively, but in the future it will influence the full year.
Right. And next questions, will the Russian oil price cap have any impact on liquid bulk? The answer is no, because as already Andrus described, basically by the end of this year, the Russian oil transit will stop. Therefore, no impact from price cap. Please, next question. Please explain what does it mean for you when government decided not to use option to buy ferries? Any financial expression? For us, the governmental decision is very positive, because we then have a clear message that we will own the assets or ships. They are brand new ships still, and with this fleet or ships, it's easier to compete or to go to the next tender. That's definitely positive, and it shows that government or as a service agreement holder is satisfied also with our service, and there is any financial expression on that just recently.
I can add that directly there isn't any financial expression, just that this decision put us a good position to participate on the tender, and through that it gives us a possibility to be or to continue after 2026 in ferry business, and the impact will be there, but not in nearer future.
Correct. Okay. All right, then. Okay, sorry, one question more. Is it possible to give some indication on cruise booking for some next year? Honestly, I don't have a precise figure, to be honest. We have the bookings. It's really too early to say what will be the trend. And therefore, we're working hard, as I already mentioned, and even big decision makers all are here in Tallinn yesterday, today. We do what we can to support the recovery, but still I don't have just now here on the table the bookings or the number.
So it seems that there is no more questions. There are no more questions, and thank you for watching and thank you for interest, and see you next time.
Thank you for listening and all the best.